Hey Denchbags, what's going on? It's Landon Remixes here, and welcome to my review of the sophomore EP from the Dutch producer WRLD. This one is called Awake. Now I also did a small review on this on WRLD. I'm not going to link it in the description because it's not a full album review or anything like that, but I was able to touch bases on it, which was really fun. Basically what I talked about is that this EP highly contrasts what we got with his debut Chase It last year, which I did review in my Rapid Fire review series. That one was a bit more of an indie dance EP, and that's basically all we got on the thing. Of course, there was a little bit of new disco and future bass, but for the most part, it was an indie dance EP, kind of making a more cohesive EP, and for the most part it really worked. I loved that EP, and I think I featured it in my top 10 of the year. When this thing was announced, I was hoping for a little bit more than a 3-track. All we ended up getting was a 3-track. I don't think adding a 4th single onto this would have done much to it, because the major theme underlying this EP, WRLD's diversity as a producer. Now we kick off kind of where the Chase It EP left off with Little Too Close, picking up on Awake featuring Johnny Rose's side project Color Drive. Now I've really loved Color Drive in the past, especially on their feature with Summer Was Fun called Watching. That's one of my favorite releases on Monster Cat in the last year or so. And with this appearance, it's a little less good, I think. This one, the lyrics are basically just about a guy in bed who doesn't really want to get up and get motivated, which of course your average teen can relate to, like me, especially being a college student. But in terms of production, I actually really like this one. WRLD tends to draw a lot of inspiration from Owl City, and you get that same kind of classic Owl City lead synth that you see in a lot of WRLD's music on the drop of this one. The rhythmic guitar seems very meaningful on this, especially as with the catchy indie dance bass lines. And overall, this makes a really solid track. Then we get into probably my favorite on the EP, Drowning, featuring Ihiro. Now this one is probably the most unique track I've ever heard from WRLD, which was really freaking awesome to hear. It kind of takes on an electronic R&B style that I'd like to draw comparisons to Disclosure. And I think in a lot of places he could easily compare, maybe even have Disclosure running for their money with this kind of style, and I'd like to see him forward this kind of track to them and see if they could be a potential collab partner, because this track is so solid, and I think Ihiro's vocals are very meaningful on this one. Just takes a completely different style, maybe even slow house, something that WRLD hasn't done before, which really impressed me. I would highly suggest going to check it out because it's definitely worth a listen. The longest track on the EP, 3 minutes and 34 seconds, but definitely worth taking the time to listen through. Now finally we conclude with Discovery, which is WRLD's very first attempt at making a house track, and I tended to call this kind of an electro style. It takes a little bit of inspiration from electro house and progressive house, taking heavy inspiration from artists like Mayor Levi and Audion, and kind of crafting this in a style that doesn't exactly sound like them. WRLD takes enough of his own styles of music and combines it into this that it sounds interesting. This one doesn't feature a vocalist, which I think may have improved the track slightly if he would have added one in. Honestly, probably my least favorite on the EP, although it's very interesting to hear WRLD experimenting with house. I didn't really love this track. The melody I think is a little bit subpar, but overall I think it was well produced. And I look forward to seeing WRLD dive into some more house music, especially following this. I'm gonna slap a 6.5 on this sucker. I think I gave a 7.5 to Chase It, so this one's not too much lower. I like that one a lot better. Like I said, WRLD's debut EP was a little bit more cohesive. This one's a little bit more diverse, but the production value is a little bit lower. But overall, I really did like this one, and I definitely suggest checking it out. So if you have heard it yet, let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't, I have the Spotify link in the description so you can check it out. Anyway, I'm Landon Remixes, and I hope you enjoyed this review. Peace out.